Hi, everybody. Okay, I gotta ask the question of all questions, and I'm going, what is a normal mother? And I said, oh my God, you're right. So many millions of people who had toxic moms wouldn't even know what a non toxic mom is, only in their dreams. Okay, so here's what a non toxic, healthy mom is. First of all, when you're born, you are wanted and you're put first. You are loved. Your cries are answered because a baby, and their only way to speak or let you know they need something is to cry. So that old-fashioned way of leaving your babies to scream that was supposed to be healthy was written by Dr. Spock in, I don't know, 18 million years ago. And what happened was, you know, that was all they knew. They thought that that was how to do it, and it was backwards. And that would be what starts the void in your soul if that's what happened to you. And then a healthy mother is a conscious parent, and she is raising an adult instead of a baby that's hers. And what you do when you get a human being is you realize that you're only their guardian, their caretaker, the one that bonds with them, and the one that guides them from anything happening to them. And it's the hardest job in the world. And in order to do it, you need to be putting that child first and understanding the job. So, aside from regular care like taking care of diapers and feeding and loving and nurturing and burping and holding and sleeping with, your job is to teach your child who they are. And when that child likes trucks or dinosaurs or whatever, it doesn't you don't get to pick what they like. You guide them in with the toys that they have, and they already know who they are. And then you develop who they are. And so you may have a dream that, your kid owns a business or inherits what somebody else built or is a baseball player or a fireman or whatever. They already know who they are. And for a little girl, it's the exact same. And so for little boys, they absolutely need to have the right to cry when they're hurt and have their feelings hurt, and they have the right to have a mother tell them it's fine. That is the first thing that a healthy mother does to a healthy baby today. And for a little girl, same thing. You never want to shut off a baby's emotions and tell them not to feel. Because what that does is it breaks them then, makes them feel embarrassed for being able to use tears as an outlet, and then they grow up insecure and paranoid. You want to build them. And so it doesn't matter if your kid falls out of a tree, scrapes, doesn't get the biggest half of a sandwich. When little kids don't understand something, their only way to handle it is through crying. And we have ruined centuries of men because we did not let them feel their emotions and cry and feel that it was okay to be a human being. And then because they contained all that and grew up with all their feelings inside, they took all kinds of outlets to let it out. So a healthy mother absolutely categorically allows every child to have their feelings and their emotions. And it does not matter if they were gay, straight, transsexual, bisexual, transgender. You love your child and you lead your child into who they are. And they tell you who they are. And so, the beginning part is so easy because you're taking care of an infant and a baby, and then you don't know. But by the time they're 4 or 5, they are already saying to you who they are. And when I was little, I was writing and inventing things and matching words to make poems in my head. So it was really obvious who I was, but nobody back then even had a clue how to recognize that kind of stuff. And it didn't go discovered for a really long time. But in school, my teachers knew that I was a writer. And they always said, You need to develop your writing skills because you're great at it. So anyway, for today's world, when you are a good mother, you're not going to get 100% of anything. You're not going to handle 100% of their needs. Even a village can't. But you're going to do the best you can. You are not going to injure them. You are not going to emotionally scar them and put them down and blame them and make anybody feel worthless. You build them up. You tell them they're great. You tell them you were born for love from us, and you have a great purpose, and I'm here to help you get there, and whatever it is. And as you build your child, and those first 5 years before they're even in school, that bond and who they become from your love and your guidance is how they stay okay. If you don't hold them and you abandon them and you abandon their needs, they grow up with a detachment disorder and they fear love, they fear trust, they don't believe in anybody. When you hold a child and they know who they are, whether they're an introvert or an extrovert or whatever they want to be, even in the middle, they end up with a sense of self. And as I said in another video, when I did that to this little boy whose mother left him to go do drugs, he knew who he was. And when someone called him a brat at 4, he said, "No, I'm not," because he knew who he was. And that's how it works. And as you take your child through the years, you help them, listen to them, be there for them. Do not judge them. Don't let anybody judge them. And then when they're bullied and when they're picked on, it's not going to ruin them the way it's going to if you don't have any confidence. Because if you're not getting what you need at home and then you go to school as an escape and you're bullied there and you're left abandoned and feeling whatever, you add those two things together. You don't go, my parents are wrong and the school is wrong. You go, the school is saying this and my home is saying this, so why was I born? And then that develops into all the other problems. A healthy mother is a person that you're going to be able to go and say, they picked on me, they made fun of me. And she says, no, 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 that's silly. That's because they're not happy. It has nothing to do with you. And we're going to go make you feel great. What do you want to do today to feel better? And put them in charge of learning how to heal themselves. Do I want an ice cream? Do I need a truck? Do I need a toy? Do I need to go for a walk? Do I want to go swimming? Treat them to a natural, simple, wonderful thing that just takes it away. Because children don't have an ability to hold on to things for too long. They don't do it. It only becomes that way when there's someone not letting them recover and not letting them feel better. And the key to being a successful parent is to raise a successful child. And it gets more difficult as everything goes on, and teenage years are enough to kill any parent because every child wants to break away from the parent, healthy or not, to start to put their own feet in the water. And if you're in 9th grade and you're a girl and a boy that's in 12th grade wants to take you to the prom, you want to go. And in that span of time, there's way too much difference. And a 9th grader cannot meet the mental needs of a 12th grader and work. It works later on in age. A 4-year difference is nothing. But when you're younger, it's crucial because that man's ready for sex and she's just saying, ooh, I'm popular because a 12th grader wants me. That's your tough job as a parent to say, I can't let you go. Or if you go, you're being chaperoned. Because there's a lot of negotiating that you can do. My parents, there wasn't, but in today's world, to do it right, you can. And just so everybody knows, with my girls, I wanted them home, and when they wanted to party, and they couldn't drink or anything underage, but when they wanted their little music on and their friends over, I said, boys and girls can stay, but you're all going to be in my house where I watch. And if that doesn't work for you, then you have nothing. So I had to negotiate to let them be cool and have their little things and whatever, but there was no way I was letting them go elsewhere. And there was no way I was going to say no, because that is part of development, those little experiences and sleepovers and whatever. And I didn't like it, and it was hard, but it worked. And of course I let them have premarital sex. That is something our parents wouldn't let us do, but I absolutely did. But I protected them. I mean, I gave them all the guidance, let them go to the gynecologist and said, you know, this is normal. You're going to have this, but you're not getting pregnant. This is how, and this is why. And I don't want you to get AIDS, so this is the other stuff. So you inform both boys and girls of what they can do, and you let them be the age that they're in. And I always taught all my kids to have interests. I did not let them sit home and have the TV raise them and have their cell phones and whatever raise them. No way. And there was none of that at dinner. There was time together, and dinner was fun. We were always laughing and happy because I was invested in them. And then by the time they wanted to have little girlfriends sleep over, I let them. And I let them be off on their own side, but I had monitors around the whole house. Even when they were there, because there was no way anything was going to go wrong in my care. And your terrible job as a parent is from 15 to 20, because most of them aren't leaving at 18, to keep them unpregnant, unraped, and going somewhere in their journey. And that's when hormones don't meet age, and they want to do and try everything. But you want to inform them and let them make their own decision. And I taught my girls to have love and intimacy and not have sex behind the dumpster at the mall, which was going on at the time. And I said to them, no, 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 I want you to have a man that spends the night with you and he's in a relationship with you and he loves you, and then you can go do whatever. And they were like 17 and they still weren't ready to go. But one of them had sex before 18 and the other one waited to 21. But if I had ever made it so hard and impossible for them and didn't give them the support and the love and the trust, they were going to be pregnant at 15 and 16. So it was my listening to them and allowing them to be little girls and little adults and do all their girly stuff. And then when it came time to all that, I let them, so that I didn't, they didn't end up young unwed mothers. And it was my listening to them and guiding who they wanted to be and letting them survive and building them. Did I get a few things wrong? I did. Of course, there's times when maybe I didn't concentrate 1,000% on what they were saying and I answered them wrong. The first thing of a wonderful, healthy mother is ownership. You know what? I disagree with this and I don't want you to do this, but I'm going to let you, but I want you to keep in mind that I don't approve. There's times when you just have to be tough, and it's really hard. Like, I wouldn't let them drive with other girls that were 17 because my mother didn't let me do it. And at 17, when the other girls got to do it in my school, they all got in an accident and they all ended up with scars and injuries. One girl had things across her head, like 35 stitches. One girl became a cripple because her leg went through the window or something like that. So at 17, 4 girls in a car are too young to do it. And you can't trust them because they're going to lie through their teeth even if you're a good mother, because they want to go. So there's boundaries and things that you can do and juggle in the middle. But a healthy parent and a good mother loves them. And no matter what they did wrong, and even there was a whole phase when they went through, I hate you, you won't let me go here. And I went, I know you hate me, I'm sorry. My job is to make sure you turn your next age. And you're going to hate me, but I still love you. And, whatever. And I didn't let what they had to go through take me away from where I needed to be as the adult. And did it hurt? Oh, yeah. Lots of tears in the bedroom, lots of times. And it was funny because my husband at the time, they gave him no crap. And so he would just, and I was much softer and easier, but he didn't want anything to happen to them. So, and little boys, you've got to teach them how to be gentlemen and how to love and have feelings. And they're only going to know that if they can reach the feelings they have themselves. And so if all of you didn't get this, and I didn't get it, I had to go get it elsewhere from strangers and neighbors and their other people's mothers that I like better than mine and other people's fathers that I like better than mine. But that was how I survived, was that I went and found what I was missing so that I was okay. And then I just did the best that I could when it came time for me to take care of children. When you didn't get this, and I'm telling the world, 99% of people did not, don't make it a lifetime wound. And by that I mean you're always going to miss what you didn't get, but you can create it in yourself. I didn't get a lot of hugging and I didn't get a lot of love, and my mother was not nurturing because her mother died and she didn't know how to be a mother with 3 young babies, and we were all meeting at this exact same time. And, there was no, with 2 parents and one working, there wasn't any way for her to meet all those needs. She did it in later life, which was amazing. But in my childhood, when I was developing, I didn't need it. But I became the mother of the planet, nurturing, warm, supportive, loving. I learned everything, and I went to all kinds of leaders and healers and watching them and reading books to understand how to do the job the best. It's pretty hard to permanently screw up a kid. You have to do it with a broken self and start from yourself. And you have to do it with a malicious intent that you're first and they're not, and that you can't face the brokenness of your own parents. And in my opinion, those people have no right to have a child, but those people have children every day. And a lot of people want to they want to cement a toxic relationship together by 2 people that are already falling apart, putting a child in there so that bonds them together. Like if you have a man, I've seen this happen over and over, if a man's ready to go and say, I don't want to be with you anymore, bam, she'll get pregnant to hold on to the guy, thinking that will hold him and make it work. And it's a nightmare. It never, ever works. And forever, that child pays the price of being the object of born not in love and in whatever, but in need to hold. And that is awful. And a lot of times the parents won't even admit that, but that's a real thing that happens. So when you don't get what you should have had, it's an 18-year span, everybody. You have decades after that to live in a different way. And I did. I created nurturing in my home. When you love another child and you give them what you didn't get, you feel so wonderful because you watch what it does. And you live within that child saying, I'm doing it right. It wasn't done to me and that sucked, but it's working here and it's wonderful. And you get to have that for your life and the rest of your story. And when you see how beautiful love is and how deep it is between a parent and a child and an intimate loved one, you don't want anything else, and you shouldn't be afraid of it. So that's what my summation of a healthy parent is. A healthy father is one that you don't fear and that you feel strength from and safety from, and that will protect you. And a lot of people, if they had a toxic father, they fear their parent. And that makes them unable to know how to choose a partner, because the only thing they know how to pick in a partner is someone that has power and control over them. And that's not a relationship or a marriage. It's an extension of a toxic childhood, but it's all you know. And a non-toxic, loving father, you don't fear at all. You want him, you know he's strong. If you say that boy picked on me, you know he's going to protect you and make you feel better and not let anybody hurt you and not let anybody else say things about you. And he's going to make sure you're healed. And a lot of people didn't get that either, because most fathers whose emotions were shut off don't know how to parent, because their own life and their childhood was them not being able to cry because they were a boy. But you know what? As we move forward and heal with them. And if you're a parent that has a child, cry with your child and make sure you let your child cry and have their feelings, because it's so much easier to raise a healthy baby than to fix a screwed up adult. And that's what everyone has to remember. Thank you.